Dave. It's time for the rigs and techniques here at our workbench.
Yes, sir.
And so what are we going to talk about?
Well,
wading,
talk about wading. You know, it's a great way to fish, you know, because you're out there communing with nature, you know, you're one with the environment and all that stuff. I love doing it. I get up early in the morning and, you know, I'll be honest with you, though. When I was a younger man, there's a lot of places that I would go wading that I won't go wading now because I'm older and I love myself a little bit more. So, you know, because there's some danger involved in some of the places you go wading. You always want to make sure you bring a buddy. You know, as much as it's nice to be out there by yourself in the solitude, if you're in a place where there's some sharks or there's some stingrays or something like that, it's always good to have somebody around watching your back.
So you can drag your dead body out of the water.
Yeah, especially in the summertime, you know, the bull sharks get in the bays and start running up down the beach, chasing all that same mullet that you're looking for.
Yes.
The same bait fish that you're looking for. And those are the places where you want to start. And as soon as you get to the edge of the bay, start looking around. If you see some birds standing along the shoreline, that's probably a good place to start. If you see a lot of mullet working on top of the water or fish wakes moving somewhere, it's probably a great place to start. And, you know, put on a pair of good shoes, waders if it's cold. You know, if it's below 70, I really hate the cold. So if it's below 77 degrees, I'm putting waders on. Over that, I'll roll.
77-degree water.
Correct.
I got
Correct. 77-degree water. I'll raw dog after that and put on, you know, just wear a pair of shoes and a pair of shorts.
So what are you going to use when you get in the water?
Well, you know, use bait casters in Texas for sure. You know, that's what most people use. But at the same time, you know, you got to be, if you're not used to casting a bait caster, a lot of the times what you're wanting to do when you're wading is you're wanting to use the lightest stuff that you can get away with, especially if you're fishing in really shallow water, because from the time it hits the surface to the time it gets to the bottom, you know, that's your little strike zone. And the slower it takes to get to the bottom, the longer it's in that strike zone and the more likely the fish is to eat it, especially when it first hits. So, you know, try to get away with using something that's, especially if it's not a topwater plug or some sort of plug. If it's a soft plastic, you want to try to use something that is an 1/8 to maybe a 16th, even a 16th ounce, if you can get away with it. You know, on a windy day, it's going to be hard to cast those things a long way.
Right.
So you might have to go to a 1/4 ounce. You know, most guys just use a 1/4 ounce all the time, but they're probably missing out on a few bites.
Right.
You know, because if you can lighten up any and let that thing flutter down and take its time to get down there, you know, you're going to be better off.
As Bink said, you know, one of the things he loves is certainly throwing topwaters for trout.
I love it too. It's really the only reason I go fishing anymore is to watch a fish eat. You know,
Right.
I love to watch them pop and thing. And a good topwater plug can't be beat. Trout, luckily, trout love to eat topwater plugs, and especially, you know, if they're targeting mullet and pilchards or, you know, little like white baits. You know, whatever kind of little white baits you have in the surf. Anything that looks like that, that's what they're going to key on. What a lot of people make a mistake is working them too fast. You know, if you're working them real fast and you're not getting bites, slow down. You know, try to slow down a little bit, let it sit, pop it, pop it, pop it, let it sit, pop it, pop it. Sometimes as soon as you start to move it again after you stop it, that's when they'll eat it. And if it's moving, sometimes they won't. Now, if you're using a Zara Spook like that one, you know, a great topwater plug, it moves all the time. You really don't want to, you move it slow back and forth, you know, bang, 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 bang. Just work it as slow as you can, you know, and usually they'll pile on it. Sometimes they like it a little faster, but usually slowing down is the key to getting a good bite.
And truthfully, redfish and trout, they don't necessarily need it to be fast.
No.
They like just a cadence.
Right, and a lot of time you're moving it fast and strong because of the water clarity. You know, a faster bait will sometimes work better in muddy water because they can hear it because you're making a lot of splashing as you're moving it. If you're going real slow, they might not see it as good. I like a lot of the you know, weedless swim baits like these Bass Saltwater Assassins, because you can throw them over grass and stuff, and you don't have to worry about getting them in the grass and whatnot. You throw them in real shallow water, which is where the big trout like to live sometimes.
Man, I feel like we were cheated here. We didn't
Seems
have
like we
enough
could have some more
time.
stuff, yeah.